Now, let's try to understand what is Node.js, right? So, is it a programming language? Is it a framework? Is it a runtime environment? Or what it is, right? What is Node.js? I think most of you might have a misconception that Node.js is a programming language or it is a framework of JavaScript, right? But not exactly, or 100% it is not either of those. It's not a programming language or it's a framework of JavaScript. Then what is Node.js, right? So for understanding what is Node.js, first we need to know a bit about JavaScript, or let's talk about JavaScript a bit, right? So what is JavaScript? JavaScript is a scripting programming language like any other language, C, C++, Java, Python, anything, right? It has all the qualities which are required to be called as a programming language. And the purpose of, or when JavaScript was created, the only reason it was created is because it can make web applications dynamic. It means it can make websites, it can give life to websites, right? In the same manner, when JavaScript was evolving, what happened is JavaScript also came to backend environment or backend programming languages or in developing backend applications. But let's see what is JavaScript in a browser first of all, right? So when you write a JavaScript code, when you write a piece of JavaScript code, what happens is it runs in the browser, right? So whenever you are writing a JavaScript code, it goes and it runs in the browser. Browser only understands HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? In this case, when you're writing a JavaScript inside the browser, this is what it looks like. So JS source code, whatever source code or whatever JavaScript code which you're writing is running on the browser, and the main components inside the browser is that one JavaScript engine and some other powerful APIs which are loaded, which are added to the browser, which is making us do API calls, do event-oriented programming, and whatever stuff, right? So basically, JavaScript requires nothing but a JS engine wherein it reads the JavaScript code and it understands the JavaScript code and it executes the code, or maybe it converts into low level language, and then the machine can understand, because ultimately the machine can understand only 0 and 1, right? So if you see this whole diagram, you will clearly able to understand that browser is nothing but JS engine plus some additional concept, additional APIs or modules or whatever it is, right? Now, this is the main thing which gave birth, or this is the starting point where it gave birth to a thing called as Node.js, right? So what is Node.js is that it means to run any JavaScript, all you need is a JavaScript engine. And inside JavaScript engine, you have things like stack, event queue, and all of these. But yeah, to run a JavaScript, you don't need a browser. All you need is a JavaScript engine. So now in a standalone JavaScript, I mean, if you want to run a JavaScript not inside a browser but outside a browser, the standalone JavaScript code would look like something like this. So you write a JavaScript code, all you need is JS engine. So first it got segregated from the browser and now it is available to run anywhere. Now what is Node.js? Node.js is one such thing, one such execution environment. So when there are different types of browsers, so let's say V8, so Google Chrome, you know, right? Most of the people use Google Chrome. So Google Chrome has one type of JavaScript engine, and then Microsoft Edge has one type of JavaScript engine, which is called as Chakra, right? And Mozilla Firefox has another type of JavaScript engine, which is called as SpiderMonkey. So each browser has its own JavaScript engines. It means sometimes you face, right, like my code is running in Chrome, but it is not running in Internet Explorer. My code is running in Firefox, but it is not running in Google V8 engine, right? So Google has its own V8 engine. It means Google might support some latest features which Edge might not, and browser Firefox can support other features which Google might not. all is dependent on how JavaScript engine is being used and how it is being upgraded to latest versions, right? So now here, one of the engineers, one of the engineers one of the engineers in Google thought that, okay, JavaScript as a language is not just or cannot be just bound inside a browser, but we can make it a standalone and we can build something, right? So now Google's one of the Randall is the engineer who thought that I can separate it out and I will run JavaScript in a place where there is no browser, and the place which he took or the engine which he took is nothing but the V8 engine. So note he what he did is he plugged out the JavaScript engine from the Google Chrome, all over whatever the piece of code is there, and he brought it along and he added some additional libraries to it, which is some C++ libraries and LUBV engine and all of this. I mean, we'll see what is that. That is how Node.js was built, but that's where the idea came in. So he separated the JavaScript engine. That engine is called as V8 Chrome engine, right? And he added some other power set like file system because browser doesn't need any file system integration. He added events, files, event loop, and many other things, which is called as Node.js. So V8 plus some additional C++ libraries together make it, or together we call it as Node.js. Now Node.js is not a framework or not a programming language. It is a runtime environment. It is a runtime environment where your JavaScript code runs outside the browser. So it is an environment, it is a piece of code, or it is a ship, or it is a house where your JavaScript code can be run so that you can get an output of any backend Node.js application. So this is what leveraged as a complete full-fledged Node.js backend programming language. We call it whatever stuff, but ultimately Node.js is nothing but a runtime environment created to run JavaScript standalone outside a browser and using the full-fledged power of JavaScript, because JavaScript itself is the most powerful language which has many concepts in it, many ways like hoisting, closures, and all of these, because JavaScript itself was very interesting. So this thought of Randall, what he did was, why this a strong language should be in only browser or in the front end side, but I will now pull it out to the back end as well, and I'll make it a full-fledged language. That's the reason where you learn a single programming language like JavaScript, it will be able to run your front end, back end, and the good part of this JavaScript language is that you can even build native Android and iOS applications using React Native. But yes, this is what Node.js is. Let's move on to next thing about understanding different programming concepts, right?